Fine. So this is about IICS Cloud Data Integration Training. The agenda is going to I'm going to discuss about Informatica Cloud, components of Informatica Cloud, what is IPaaS solution, and we'll discuss about Informatica Cloud terminologies, cloud architecture, runtime environment, and getting started. So the first thing that we would like to discuss about is, let me put in the slide mode. What is Informatica Cloud? Informatica Cloud is an on-demand subscription service that provides a complete platform for cloud integration and data management. So this is going to be a service which is on demand. Like you provide services on the fly, and you provide the complete data integration solutions over the internet. And it provides an ability to create and configure your connections. You can create users, you can create jobs, you can run, schedule, and monitor your tasks. So the components that include are runtime environments, cloud secure agent, organization, and connections. We'll go over that one by one. And the first thing what we need to understand is, what is an IPaaS solution? IPaaS, as the name says, it stands for Integration Platform as a Service. So when I talk about Integration Platform as a Service, this is a service offering provided by Informatica, where it is a suite of products. I mean, it is a suite of services that would enable your development, execution, and governance of your flows, connecting any combination of on-premise and cloud-based processes. So we've been like hearing a lot about on-premise and cloud, right? So we need to understand the difference here. What is on-premise and what is cloud? So on-premise is something which is residing within your network, where you host a database, or you host an application, or you have something which is running on your own personal laptop, or within your network, or within your firewall, or within your organization. You have an on-premise setup. And this is a suite of cloud services enabling your development, execution, and governance of integration flows, connecting any combination of on-premise and cloud-based processes. So I hope you understand about this IPaaS. Any questions on IPaaS so far from anyone? Okay. And you can access it from any machine with an internet access and web browser application. So you directly log into a URL when you access the IICS application. Your browser connects to the services through a secure HTTP protocol. And IICS platform has a multiple toggle switch wizards that would help you to build and test your integration tasks. So we'll be seeing that in a demo. I'll be creating a job, and I'll be able to run the job and show it to you. How does it look? And it is also having a centralized monitoring capabilities to track your progress and result of your jobs, and pre-configured integration templates for various recurring business use cases. So this is all about IPaaS solution. Anyone is having any questions on this IPaaS? Any questions from anyone? Okay.
No need to install the, on-premise like Informatica and Android.
Yeah, that's correct. You don't have to install anything on your local machine. It's not a server client component. You have to install a secure agent, which would actually communicate between your your org and your cloud repository. I'll tell you about it, right? I'll tell you about it, but you don't have to worry about on-premise installation. And this is not a software that you have to trigger, where you need to launch something. Everything is on your browser. And yeah, moving on, these would be the cloud terminologies that you get to hear a lot. Like you have an add-on connector. You also have administrator, agent, asset, bundles, component, There are so many things here, right? The connections and data integration server. You have Elastic Server in case of a AWS instance, file listener, hosting facility, Informatica Cloud hosted agent. So we get to hear these terminologies a lot. I want you to understand that, as and when you progress with the training, you get to understand about it slowly. But again, these terminologies are quite, you get to hear a lot about all these things. And, I just put it in overview mode, so that you understand this. You get a task flow. So there are different things like, in case of a power center, you have a workflow, but in IICS, we call them as task flow. And similarly, you have a mapping. We also have a mapping in IICS. And in case of power center, you have a session, but in IICS, you have a task. And for every task, you have a task flow. So that's how it is. And these are the cloud terminologies. So I'll move on to IICS cloud architecture, which is very important for you to understand. How does our architecture look? If you look at this picture, right? The cloud architecture is you have an Informatica managed cloud runtime, secure agent, and you have a process server. And this is a multi-tenant repository. The one that you see here are multi-tenant repositories which are hosted at Informatica Cloud, Informatica managed hosting facilities. They manage these multi-tenant repositories, and we have a user who logs into a web client, with a username and password. When he signs for Informatica Cloud service, when he is enrolled for an account, he logs on to a web client using a browser, and he would send the authentication to Informatica Cloud services, and sorry, and this is again through the encrypted connections. The customer managed secure agent is within the organization firewall. You have a secure agent which would manage your connections, which would manage your entire data. It can be your on-premise flat files data, or it can be something about your Oracle instance or a SQL Server instance, whatever it may be. It can be any database which is managed within your organization. So you need to have a secure agent which would control your data. So the data is getting exchanged to the Informatica multi-tenant repository through in an encrypted way. You have an encrypted connection, and we also have on-premise data applications which include something like your SQL or SAP or Oracle. You have a lot of on-premise applications, and the architecture looks where it would exchange the metadata when you log into a web client, and this metadata is stored in the multi-tenant repositories. Okay, and this architecture is based on microservices. Informatica Cloud architecture is based on microservices, where the data gets exchanged, from an org. You have an org that you register for an IICS, and through the org, you exchange your metadata and you store the metadata into your multi-tenant repositories. And if you look at the right side, you also have the business data, where everything happens through a HTTPS protocol, right? And you can even connect to multiple connectors using, for example, like Marketo connector or a Salesforce connector. So these are few examples of your cloud applications. So anyone has any questions on this architecture?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi, this is Surya here. So one query. So I just try to understand. So this secure agent, if I'll compare with Informatica Power Center, so is there anything component in Informatica Power Center which behaves like secure agent? No, right?
No. This is not an apple-to-apple comparison, right? Informatica Power Center is a on-premise client, client server kind of architecture, right? Where you may have to install your client, and you also have to install a server, right? And you need to have You need to have a connection between your client and server. You need to connect to a repository, and you have a repository manager, you have a designer, workflow manager, and monitor in case of Power Center, right? But in case of Informatica Cloud, you have everything in a browser, right? You have a multiple toggle switch wizards. I was telling about multiple toggle switch wizards where that would help you to build and test your integration task. And why do we need a secure agent? The reason was because of different organization needs. They want to manage their own data. Due to you know their own security standards, and they want to manage the data. So we have a secure agent. So it's not the actual data that is getting stored in the multi-tenant repository. It is a metadata. It's a metadata which is in an encrypted format. So this is not an actual comparison with Power Center. Secure agent is something where it is a kind of a communicator, or it's kind of a lightweight agent, which would actually help in communicating between your local. For example, I have my Windows laptop, right? My Windows laptop and your Informatica server, the repository. So I need to have a
So
communication.
then
So yeah,
secure agent is going to be installed in our
yeah,
on premises, like our laptop or something. Suppose while
that's
I'm
correct.
browsing the IICS thing, so it will going to be
Yeah,
installed in my machine.
that's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. I'll show you that. I'll show you in the demo. I have installed the secure agent, so I'll show you that. Okay. So
One
anyone has
question.
any other questions? Yeah.
Yeah. So in the secure agent, what I understood, in the server, like in Informatica Power Center, that in Informatica server, all the repository tables are used to be there. So here, for our when we are connecting through secure agent, where are the repository tables and everything are present?
This is not a case of you can't directly view, or you can't directly query the repository tables. This is all happening over the internet, right? So this is a different architecture altogether. You have to query there is a way to query the metadata, but you can't. I mean, you won't be able to exactly query something like similar like your database, right? You have a repository table in case of Power Center, because a repository metadata is stored in the tables in case of Power Center. But in case of IICS, right, what happens is you actually query something, or when you browse something, it is actually sending the request through the HTTPS protocol, and everything is happening through an API. API is application programming interface. It's happening over the internet. So that metadata gets stored in the multi-tenant repositories, and there is a other way to restore. I mean there is another way to retrieve that data through REST API. Probably you might have heard about REST API. That is how you retrieve the metadata, but that is not a direct way to retrieve your data, like the case of Power Center. Okay, I'll tell you
Okay,
about
and
it. Yeah.
sorry, another question. So in our practical the case, every time we have to place some parameter files, source files, and all these things in the server so that we can test and our jobs. And so in this IICS, to place these parameter files, data files, and which server do we need to check actually?
Secure
Means where
agent.
to,
You can
okay.
place your parameter files, you can place your flag files, you can place all your configuration files in the secure agent. I'll tell you about it. Okay, I'll tell you about it shortly.
Okay, thank
Fine. Yeah, thank you. Anyone has any other questions? Okay, so guys, all of you have to understand clearly about the architecture, because this is not an apple to apple thing like Power Center. Power Center is more on the on-premise thing, and Power Center is going off. The support for Power Center is going off probably in 1 or 2 years, and everything is moving on to cloud. Everything is moving on to cloud. So if you're from Power Center background, or if you're not from Power Center background, that's absolutely fine. All you have to learn is you need to understand how to navigate. You need to understand how to use the tool, and how you need to understand how do you understand the architecture, how does it work. Okay, so the cloud architecture, if you look at the next slide, this is where we have the repository. You have a machine with web browser, and you perform different functions like administration, design. You can also do configuration, maintenance, everything. This is how the architecture would look at a different direction perspective. Like you have a machine with web browser, internet access, and you log in to your browser and you do a task and you run it. So this is again, your company, why do you need a secure agent? Because your company is managing your own data. So secure agent sits behind the firewall of your company. So, this is again, other way what I've explained to you, where the metadata regarding, the schema changes or schedule information, everything gets exchanged through a HTTP protocol. And you have your local files and your databases where, you connect using your cloud secure agent, and, you create a job and you run it, and your metadata gets stored in the repository. So components, right? We need to understand about components. Any questions on this from anyone? Any questions on this from anyone? Yeah.
Yeah. So in the next couple of years, we won't be having Informatica Power Center. That's what you're saying. Like everything will be converted to IICS.
I don't say exactly Power Center won't be. The support is not extended. I don't think Informatica is providing license anymore for any new customers. For existing customers, they still have the Power Center license, but again, I guess they are moving out.
So probably they'll eventually convert.
Eventually they'll move out to cloud, because everything is moving on to cloud. The demand is so high. So I guess a lot of companies or a lot of clients are moving away from Power Center and moving to cloud.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So the components of IICS, you have the Informatica Cloud, hosting facility, runtime environment, and agent. I just want to explain you about it clearly. So what is a runtime environment? Runtime environment is something about, where you run your cloud tasks. A task can be, a job that connects to your flat file and you want to load into a flat file again, or you want to connect to a database and you want to load into a database. So the agent, agent is responsible for running your tasks. Something like, you have a grid concept in Power Center, right? You have a grid concept in Power Center. So we have, secure agent group in IICS. So there is something called secure agent group and secure agent. So an agent is a program that can run within your network or within the Informatica Cloud hosting facility. And every agent will be associated with a runtime environment. You need to have a runtime environment. Without a runtime environment, you can't run your jobs. Similarly, what is a runtime? Like what is Informatica hosted agent? That's again, hosted at Informatica Cloud. Informatica vendor itself would host that facility, but again, you would need a license for it to run your tasks. That's a rare exception, because most of the organizations, I guess 99% of the organizations, or even 100%, I can say, they would have their own secure agents and they would have their own jobs running at their own premises, right? And even like for example, they want to install a secure agent on a Windows machine or a Linux machine, right? It should be absolutely fine, as long as they control the metadata, or sorry, they control the data. The metadata gets exchanged to the cloud repository, gets transmitted, right? So hope you understood this. Any questions from anyone? Okay. So the secure agent architecture, when you look at the security model, how does it work? Now, this is a similar diagram, what I've shown you previously, but again, this is coming up with a security model where you have a customer who logs in and you have, you just need internet access. And there is a data center infrastructure security and IICS platform security as per the security standards. They design the security model, and you can also enable the SAML provider, you can enable your SAML authentication, a single sign-on authentication, that would enable you to log into your respective organizations, where you have a single sign-on facility and you don't have to worry about a native authentication. So I keep telling you about multi-tenant repositories. The metadata gets stored in the multi-tenant repositories, which is based on microservices. Okay. So the best thing about IICS is we have a role-based access controls where you have a role. For example, an administrator would have all the access. He can provide security configuration. He can actually set up the environment. He can execute a task or a task flow or a process. He can also do API-based executions. He can view the job results and he can control the entire platform. A designer can perform, he can do a task or a task flow, a mapping, process, API-based executions and job results. There is one more role called service consumer, which is more on the API-based executions and job results. So eventually you would know all this, once you get to start with this. So to get started, so guys, please give your details to the organizer. I think they're waiting on your details. So please drop your details with your email address and your contact number so that they will reach out to you. So to get started, what do we need to get started? We need to install the secure agent and we have to create an org and we need to provide any sub org if needed, and we have to set up your users and groups, download and configure connectors. So any questions from anyone so far on this? Okay. Now I'll tell you how does the secure agent works. The secure agent communicates to Informatica Cloud through the HTTPS protocol with 443 port, and the secure agent downloads the integration job, it executes a job, and secure agent launches the engine, and data transfer happens directly from the source system to target system. It's not staged in cloud. And secure agent transmits logging and monitoring information about the job to Informatica Cloud repository. So I'll show you. Let me open this. So this is my, this is the URL, which is dm-us informaticacloud.com. And I have already enrolled to a free trial account. So before I log in here, I'll just show you that. Let me just go to google.com and I'll just show you how do you enroll to a free trial account. Okay, you just type Informatica Cloud. Okay, free trial. Sorry. Just type in data integration free trial. Okay, and you get to get this link, free 30-day trial, cloud data integration. You just click on this free trial. You have to provide your details here. Okay, you just have to provide your details, job titles, for example, developer, and provide your mail ID. Okay, if you want to use your email address as your mail ID, you can check this box, or if you don't want to use this, just uncheck this. And username, you can provide something like for example, ABC. You want to put something like dev-abc as your username. You can put it that way. You can specify your user role as an architect or whatever role. For example, you want to put developer. Give your phone number, some random number. Organization, you want to put something like test. Country, you want to select. For example, you want to select India. You want to put something like this. And you want to put you have an option to select your data center, like Asia Pacific or North America or Europe. You can select anything, but I would recommend you select North America. And you just have to check these boxes and click on start your free trial. So what happens is when you click on the start your free trial, you get a mail trigger to the mail ID with your 30-day trial period. Is this clear to everyone? How do you enroll to a free trial account?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So once you enroll to a free trial account, you get this URL. Okay. So if someone is asking a link, what was that link? Is there a free trial link? I've just shown you how to do it. Okay. You need to go to Google. Just type for free trial Informatica Cloud data integration. There are a lot of products of Informatica Cloud, but we are talking about data integration. So you just search for it and you would be able to find it out. Okay, fine. So the moment you log in, I was talking about multiple toggle switch wizards, right? So when you click on this down arrow, you get my services, where you get data integration, administrator, monitor, and operational insights. So I've just opened administrator, right? I'm going to open data integration in new tab. I just right click on it, click on open in new tab, so that I get multiple tabs here, right? So first, let's go over the administrator tab. In the administrator tab, you have this download secure agent. So what you need to do is, the moment you log in to this interface, you get this Informatica Cloud hosted agent by default, but you don't get a local secure agent. How do you get a local secure agent? You need to click on download secure agent, and you have to select your Windows platform if you're working on your personal laptop, and you need to copy the install token and put it, just save it in a notepad and click on download. So this would get downloaded, and you need to execute. I mean, you just have to run that as an administrator. Please remember that you should have the administrator privileges to run your secure agent. You need to complete your secure agent installation. So once the installation is completed, I'll just show you how does it look. So for example, I've installed it in my D drive, right? I went to D drive. I created a folder called local secure agent. In my D drive, I created a folder called local secure agent, and I provided this path to my, for example, I go to my downloads page, and I just right click on this, click on run as administrator, right? And just click on yes. So I get this page, and I'll just show you. So the moment it comes up with install anywhere is preparing to install, you get this prompt to choose a folder or a default folder. Do not select a default folder, because the default folder is going to show you the C drive program files. Do not do it in C drive program files. Keep it outside your program files. You can even keep it in C drive. I don't say you should not use C drive, but create a folder. Say this is a default location. It is showing up a default location as C drive program files, but I don't recommend using C drive program files. You can even create a folder under C drive, something like local secure agent. So what did I do is, I gave this path. I created a folder called local secure agent. I gave this path. Okay, and just click on next, and I just keep clicking on next again, next, so that the installation is completed. Right? I'm not doing it again, and I'm just showing you how to do it. Any questions from anyone? Any questions? Okay.
No.
Yeah. So I have this local secure agent installed. Local secure agent installed on my local machine, and this is my administrator service. And I'll go to my data integration service. In data integration service, you would find like runtime environments, connections, projects, folders, and assets. So when this is a dashboard. This is a dashboard where you can see the entire overview of your data integration. You have a runtime environment of 2 runtime environments. with Informatica Cloud Hosted Agent, Local Secure Agent, My Jobs, you would get the entire dashboard perspective of the jobs that you have run and your recent assets. Okay, so if you want to navigate, right, you need to click on Explore, and the moment you click on Explore, you get a default project folder, auto-generated default project. But in real time, ideally, what happens is you create a new project. For example, your project name is EDW. And let's say EDW is a project name. Just click on EDW, save this, and your project is created. Under your project, you can have your own subfolders. You can create subfolders, like for example, dev. Okay, I want to create a folder for myself. I just click on dev Arun, right? So a folder is created. I can create my jobs inside the folder. So this is a service where you actually have define your assets. You can create projects and you can create your folders. And monitor is something like where you run your jobs, all jobs, the jobs that you have run already and running jobs, and you can even view the jobs that are running. Okay, is this clear to everyone? How do you navigate? Because you get three different services. Okay, we'll talk about operational insights later, but data integration, administrator, and monitor. These are part of your free trial account. Is this clear to everyone?
So through administrator option, you are coming to that runtime environment and secure agent, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The administrative service, this is the first place where you need to download a secure agent. Without a secure agent, you cannot do any of your tasks. You cannot run your jobs. You need to have connectors. Without connectors, you can't connect to anything. For example, I go to my connections, right? I have created a flat file connection already, right? I have a flat file connection, so which I created, which is the name of, I just click on this edit option. And if you look at this, this is my flat file connection where the connection name is con_flat files. It's a type is flat file. And I've selected my local secure agent and I gave the path directly. Do not click on browse. You provide the path directly. I have a folder under my apps, data integration server, data, and training. So I have a lot of files inside this, right? So what I did is for my flat files connection, I just copied the path and I just give the path here directly. And I clicked on test connection. I provided my date format and code page. Click on test connection. The connection should pass because your secure agent is talking to that path. Your secure agent is installed on your Windows, right? So this connection should be successful. Similarly, in case of Oracle, right, it has to talk to Oracle and it has to establish a connection to import your tables. You understood?
Yeah, here I had the question that you downloaded that secure agent, so that's why you are giving that path of your Windows machine. So when we'll work in our project, real project, so that time I think for the file connection also we have to give the path of the Unix box. So
That's correct.
that
That's
means
correct.
that means the our company's secure agent will be installed in that server, right?
Exactly. So there are two options here.
Okay.
There are two options. When you download a secure agency, your administrator does a installation configuration. He would create the connections required. You have an option to choose either Windows platform or Linux platform. Okay. And you also have an install token here. So when they install the service, when they install the secure agent, they choose this option of Windows or Linux. And he would help you to create the connections. He would give you the connections. You just have to provide the appropriate values, and he would help you to create the connections for a flat file, for Oracle, or for any even for an AWS. You have multiple types of connections. When we click on new connection, you get multiple options here. For example, I want to create my Oracle connection. For example, I just create C1 underscore or Oracle, let's say Scott connection. I want to create a Scott connection. I select my Oracle here, and this is where I select my local security region, and Oracle subtype is Oracle on-premise. So this is a new addition, a new thing which has come up in the latest release. So please understand, Informatica Cloud has ongoing, like rolling upgrades for every 3 months or every 4 months. They keep upgrading their software, right? They keep upgrading. They keep upgrading their tool due to multiple bug fixes, because they have to match it everything to Power Center, right? They have to match it, or they have to keep it equivalent to Power Center. So they keep getting a lot of requests to from different clients. So they keep upgrading the tool, and you get to see a lot of bug fixes or enhancements on the tool. So now this is a new one, what I'm seeing in the latest release, Oracle subtype, which was not there earlier. So I need to provide my username and password, right? I need to provide a username and password. So here I have to provide the host name, port number, service name, schemas, code page, and all that. And then I need to click on test connection for Oracle. Similarly, you get multiple types here, like FTP, SFTP, MySQL, ODBC, Oracle. There are a lot of connections. Everything would
ODBC
come.
and SQL Server will be how it's different actually, means and what is the ODBC?
Yeah, again, see, there are different types here. For example, ODBC, if I select my ODBC, right, I have to select my local secure agent, and again, username, password, data source name, schema, and this one. But in case of SQL Server, right, for example, in case of SQL Server, maybe I should have a local secure agent, then I should have an authentication mode, which is a SQL Server authentication or Windows authentication v2, because Windows authentication is deprecated, which is no longer valid. So they accept only SQL Server authentication or a Windows authentication version 2. These are the types here. SQL Server version, you have different versions here. And again, you provide different values. So that's how it is different.
And SQL Server I understood, Oracle also understood. What is the ODBC connection means?
Yeah, this is for an ODBC connector, right? You need to have, for example, like different types of ODBC connectors, like Redshift or Azure or Snowflake. You need a different ODBC connector. You need to provide the data source name and provide the appropriate values. I mean,
Okay,
I have not explicitly worked on Snowflake, but again, this is how it is, where you select Postgres or Google BigQuery. These are new additions.
Okay, because means I saw that means in the Snowflake if it is the Snowflake connection we have to build, then always we have to choose the ODBC connection type.
Yeah, it again depends on your requirement. You may have to choose, because if the type is not listed here, right? You may have to go to your add-on connectors. You need to go to add-on connectors in case of a free trial. See, everything is tied up with a license. Your organization buys license from Informatica. Okay. For example, you want to search for Snowflake, right? Snowflake, there is a free trial. I just click on start free trial, and I click on OK. I get 30 days free trial connector for Snowflake. Okay, I go to my connections, and now if I click on new connection, again now I can see the Snowflake connection here. See, Snowflake Data Cloud has come up here because I
Oh,
enabled the
directly it is coming here. No, I was telling when you were choosing the ODBC and from the top bottom you just got that drop down for Snowflake. So if I do in that way, so what is the difference then? If I don't add that connection and just directly go the ODBC, and from the drop down if someone choose the
it would
Snowflake.
work definitely. Definitely it would
Okay,
work.
okay,
It is
okay.
either this way or either that way, because it depends on the job that you configure, and everything is connected through your connector. Okay, I'll just show you. I'll just run a simple job for the benefit of everyone to see. I'll just run a job and I'll show it to everyone. Okay, so I'm going to my folder that I just created, right? This is my folder I created. So I'm going to click on new. When you click on new asset, say everything is called asset in cloud. You have a task, you have a mapping, applets, task flows, and components. Okay, we'll discuss about everything in detail in our training. So when I click on the mapping, right, the first thing what I'm going to do is I'll create a mapping to deploy my data integration logic. For example, I click on create. Okay, I'll give a name to this. See, this is called a mapping canvas. The entire thing is called a mapping canvas, and the left thing is called your mapping palette. Sorry, transformation palette. Okay, so when I click on this space, I get a window like this, and I just have to give a name like m underscore. Let's say customer central test. I'll just give a name like this. Okay, and I click on save. So this is getting saved. This is getting saved. You get a prompt saying mapping was saved successfully. And how do you maximize this? Now, if I want to go to my source, I have to configure the source properties, right? I click on the source, maximize this. There is an option to maximize and minimize. So you click on the maximize button, and you have a source here. For example, the source is src underscore cust central. Okay, I'll go to my source. Now I need to choose my connection. I only have flat file connection for now. I've taken this flat file connection. The source type is single object, right? And I click on select. The moment I click on select, right, now this is actually reading the data from my secure agent where I have my flat files. So I get the entire list of files which are residing in that location. So I select my customer central file. For example, I want to select customer central.txt. Click on OK. Okay. So you get this data, and you also have an option to preview the data. You get fields here from the job that you have, from the file that you just reported. You click on save. So this is a simple mapping I'm just showing you because I'm not using any transformations. I go to my target, maximize it again, go to target again, and select your same connection, flatware connection. Click on select object, and you get an option to choose an existing target, or you can create new at runtime. Click on create new at runtime, and you just provide a static file name like tgt underscore cust central test .csv. I just gave a random name like this. Click on OK. So I'm doing a simple mapping, for the demo purpose, right? I'm just doing a simple mapping. Just click on save. The mapping should be valid. How does a mapping is valid? Only if you configure your source and target, right? Similar like Power Center 2. But you have an option, everything, you get an option like mapping is valid here, right? And this interface, this entire interface, you have a transformation palette on the left side, and you have a preview option also, right? And the orange ones that you're seeing are the clear recommendations. For example, I click on this dotted lines, right? I click on the dotted lines. I get recommendations. Okay, I can use an expression, I can use a filter, or I can use a router. I get multiple transformations. This is again depends on the license. It depends on the license that we have. We are only working on a free trial account. Okay, a free trial account will not have all the services. Whatever license, whatever services it would provide only those services. Now I have created a mapping, right? So you need to copy the mapping name, and you need to click on the three dotted lines here. Click on new mapping task. So for every mapping task, you should associate a mapping to it. You can do it this way, or you can even do it the other way. How do you do it in other way? You need to click on new task, mapping task. You can do it this way also. But I'm just showing you the recommended way, because when you click on new mapping task from the mapping location itself, how does it work? Because it's going to pick up the mapping name automatically. So generally your mapping configuration task is MCT underscore. You just paste the mapping name here and select your local secure agent and click on next. And you get a schedule option, which we will discuss later during our training, and click on finish. So this is going to create a mapping configuration task. Okay, so we are going to run the mapping configuration task itself. So when you click on run, go to your monitor page. When you go to your monitor page, you would see that in the running jobs, this job is running right now. You're seeing that the jobs are running, and you see the instance.
Arun, your screen is not shared, I think.
Oh, sorry, I think my screen share is gone. Okay, can you see it now? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so I just ran this, and this job has started here with the instance name, the location I started, the start time, end time, the rows processed, and the success status. So if you want to click on the instance name, you would get the entire information about the job that you have run with the statistics, start time, end time, duration, everything, and you can even download the session log. You don't have to go to your server, you don't have to go to your secure agent location to check your log. You can directly click on download session log and it would open up. It would download the log directly, and you can open the log to see the number of rows processed. So this is open now. You understood? So this would have a secure agent group and a secure agent name. See, I have a secure agent group here, and you get the entire statistics, which is similar like your Power Center, where you have a start load session and load summary, and the number of rows, right, and number of rows processed. This is clear to everyone.
Yeah, here Arun, is there any limitation like number of records or the file size it will come into the picture, or we can export like up to 1 GB or something?
No, there is no limitation as such. See, whatever configurations that you have, right? For example, you want to click on this. There are some advanced properties at the schedule. When you go to the schedule tab, there are some advanced properties where you can specify the some values. For example, you want to advance session properties, and you have some log files. Log file, session log file name, or like log source load data, something. You want to put something, you can specify at a advanced properties level. There's no limit as such. You would read all the rows. Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, those are some advanced things.
We don't
But
have any designer.
sorry. Yeah, this is a designer.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
we
this
need
is
to
all.
map, like in Power Center, we will map each and every column, right? Like here, how we are mapping each and
Yeah,
every.
that's a very good question. In fact, the only thing in cloud is, you may have to get into the source to look at your fields. You can't see it from outside. You have to keep dragging this. I understand, your question. Like in Power Center, you can view the columns and all that, right? But in
Yes,
cloud,
yes.
you can't directly view them. You have to expand this. You need to get into this component and then open it. You understand? You have to get into this component and then open it to look at this fields. You can't directly view from outside. You have to go inside this. And this is not like a drag and drop. I mean, this is, yeah, similar like a drag and drop, but not on a, you don't have to launch anything. Everything is on the browser. For example, I have an expression. I just drag an expression, put it here, right? So I want to arrange this. I click on arrange all. Okay, I want to redo something, or I want to undo something. I want to undo the expression that I just dragged. Click on undo. You have an undo option. Okay, say undo transformation, you get undo transformation, redo, add transformation, redo. So you have option to delete, cut, copy, paste, everything is given inside this. You understood? So there are multiple transformations to do it. So just for the benefit of everyone, right? I want all of you to just understand the basic job that I've run for this demo purpose. And, I want to show the course content, which will be covered in this training. So I guess all of you have the course content, but again, I want to just give you an overview of this. So after successfully completing the course, you should be able to, describe the architecture, install secure agent, create connections, synchronization task, data transfer task, and replication task. Masking task and mask ingestion task may not be part of the license. They're part of the license. I'll definitely explain that. If they're not part of the license, you wouldn't be able to cover that. Task flows, we'll discuss about IICS REST web services, intelligent structured model, exceptions, advanced data integration features, administration settings, and you have all this, where we will discuss about assets and components, and we'll discuss about, secure agent. We already covered this, but I'll discuss again in detail about log files, connections, connection types, connections, and everything, synchronization tasks, different steps, cloud mapping designers. You have different field rules, dynamic schema change, deploy mapping updates. So this is how we cover these transformations as part of the data integration. But again, one or two may not be part of the license because it's a free trial license that we are working on. Mapping parameters. How do we work on mapping parameters in cloud? Expression macros, replication tasks, mapping task, masking task, mask ingestion. Again, as I told you, right? If it is part of the license, we'll cover that because mask ingestion task and everything. This would require huge amount of data, and we may not be able to replicate the same thing in the training environment. Task flows. We'll discuss about file listeners, task flow steps, task flow templates, parameters in task flow. And very important thing is hierarchical connectivity and hierarchical, parser and hierarchy builder, which is very important transformations, web services, REST-V to connectors, intelligent structured model, and advanced task settings, and also exception handling and administration. We'll discuss about administration, different services, automating and monitoring a task. How do you automate them? And the most important part is, REST APIs. And then at the end of the training, I'll be discussing about REST API because this is how you retrieve your metadata. You can't directly query a database because the entire data is not stored in a database. It's stored in the Informatica cloud repository. Yeah, the organizer would share the course content along with the recording, along with today's recording. So please look out for that. And any questions from anyone on the training content? No.
So Arun, is this training only on the CDI, or are you going to cover anything on the CAI as well?
No, this is exclusively on CDI, but I'm going to discuss about CI also. CI, what I'm going to discuss is I'll discuss about REST API. CI is a completely different thing. That's a different license. This is not part of a free trial. It's a different license altogether and different UI. This is completely data integration. But this is REST API is something which is very important. I'll be covering that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else has any questions?
It's not regarding the technical part. It's the when the training, the session will be starting.
Yeah, shortly. We'll be starting the sessions as soon as enrollments. I think we'll be starting our session shortly.